Hi, my name is Hannah Curtis. In the next couple videos you are going to be watching are me working through the prompts for the videos. The first horse you guys are going to see is my personal horse Cleo, who is coming back into work after us discovering some bar scarring and bone spurring. We got her bit in that we had fitted specifically for her, and I go over that a little bit in the video. And so we're going over a schooling of a horse that's coming back into work. And the second video is me working a horse named Hal. He belongs to my friend Renee and is in her program here in Louisville. He is an off-the-track thoroughbred who will eventually be a lesson horse. He is currently on lease and is jumping about 2.6, and so her goal with him today with my ride was me working on him being forward and in front of the leg without the use of an external aid like a whip or a spur. So that was the goal of that ride. That one will have a voiceover with it, just a heads up. And also I apologize for the videographer. We were having to dip and dodge other lessons that were going on in the outdoor arena. So please enjoy the next couple of videos.
Okay. Hi, my name's Hannah Curtis. This here is Cleo. She's my horse. We are going to be working on bringing her back into work. She's very excited about it, as you can tell. She's been off due to some scarring in her mouth and just soreness overall. So we're going to do some light walk trot under saddle today, but we're going to start with warming up on the ground just to make sure she feels comfortable and looks really good. So the goal overall with her is just to make an all-around horse, but we're going to start by making sure she feels comfortable from the get-go and making sure overall we start from a good spot and not from a bad spot. She thinks it's a bad spot today, but you know, I think that's because she didn't get her breakfast yet. So we're going to start with a warm-up with a flag. With this, we're just working on moving forward at a slow walk. Walking to the right. This essentially is getting her focused on me in the center and walking and focusing on what's going around. This is a great way to warm up a horse that's going to work. It also tests her reactiveness, because she's reactive to the flag. She's going to be reactive under saddle. After about 2 circles and 2 changes of direction, at the wall, we ask him for a trot. She's not cooperating today. She wants to be very lazy. I didn't ask for change. T-rut. And all we focus on with those slow warm-up trots is the up transition and the down transition, and not running away from the cue. Thoroughbreds in general have a tendency to run forward if they think they're being pushed forward. So the reason I'm cueing behind myself is she has a tendency to run away from her cue. That's just her. I like to use this as a directional change and not a speed change. So I'm using the noise of the flag in addition to my cluck as her cue to go forward. Good, gargoyle. Good.
my down transitions and groundwork, I use a purring or friendly noise. If I'm asking for more than easy, it's a very light trill. If I'm asking for a down transition, it's a down the scale for the noise. She knew the dream when she was done. One more drop this way, and then we'll hop on. Come on. Now she's moving. Good. 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 Oh. Yes, ma'am. I end the groundwork session with a test of the flag. So I bring it to her face. And then I bring it to her shoulder. And I bring it back to her face. And then I touch her other shoulder. Good girl. Bring it back to her face, slide it up between her ears. And then we're done with the groundwork. This is just a test to make sure she is not reactive to the flag. The flag is just a tool to change direction. Good girl. My main goal when getting on her initially is that she stands still. Normally she gets a TREAT, but because we have a new bit in our mouth, we're going to not do that today. The bit we have today is our newest one that we worked with. It's a locking bomber bit. It's a single jointed snaffle egg butt. And the reason why we switched to this bit is because she does have bar scars and bone spurs from the track. And so we didn't realize that. We did know she had bar scars coming last fall with the dentist. They found them, but we did not find the bone spurs until this spring. And so that is why she's been off, letting those kind of heal and figure out how to navigate them as riding. And so we worked with Kim Gentry to find the right perfect bit. So this just came in. So this will be our first ride back since June. And so we are gonna give it some time. She is not happy about the flies, and she's not a big fan of fly spray, but she did get her good healthy dose today. So basically what I do when I first get on is just we go for a nice walk, making sure that she's listening both to my seat and my hand. Because we're not gonna do a lot of trotting today because she has been out of work. We're just gonna be working on, is she listening to my seat? So we're gonna keep a loose, light connection to her mouth, just a decent feel in both hands. And we're just gonna be pushing her over, using our seat bone, using our leg. When we wanna stop, we're gonna close both our thighs on her and ask with a whole body, stop. She wants to say hello to the wall, that's totally fine. But we're gonna keep walking. When we want to move forward with a horse like this, that's first new to back to work, I think of using my upper body and my movement as a way of moving them. So that's a lifting of the rib cage and a movement of the hips to push them forward. My lower leg is to lift and push the rib cage over. And for her, she's still learning what that means, even though she is 6. She's still understanding that lower leg means to lift and move, not go forward. She's learning. So when we first start back to work, we do a lot of change of direction. Most of that is in a 5-meter circle type situation. My cameraman is having a great time following me around the arena right now. Utilizing small movements to keep her on her toes. Again, a loose, light connection right now. This horse knows very well that if I suck up on the reins, if
I pull those reins to me, she's going to go forward and off of my hand and sit on her forehand. Most thoroughbreds do that. We do not want her to do that. We want her to stay light in the connection and back on her haunches. We're still working on that. She's weak in the stifle, so we do a lot of backup work on the ground. Because she has a lot of trauma in her mouth, we try not to do too much backup work in the saddle. Background, you might hear some tango music playing. That's because this horse loves music. I'm going to slowly start collecting at my reins, do a light set of trotting. When I'm about to ask for the trot, I just think about lifting my rib cage, staying behind my pelvis, up and pick a 20-meter circle. Good, yes ma'am. And then if you just slight change of direction across the short diagonal. Keeping even pressure on both sides of the bit. And just back in for that 20 meters. She has a tendency to bail on that left shoulder. Still holding that left rein and reminding her we are going right. Again, change the direction across my front saddle. Good. Yes, ma'am. Good. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Then we go to the down transition. To walk. Give her a head. When I do her, because we're coming right back into work, that is all the trotting today. We don't want to overexert her, 1. 2, she's figuring out, hey, this wasn't traumatic in my mouth. Because of that bone spurring and those scars, we didn't have to worry about her tossing her head, grabbing the bit, trying to run through the pain. She was very light in the connection. I didn't have to be in her mouth at all, which was a really good thing for this horse. Those are just things that we're working through. So the next time, the next ride, we will increase that. We will do a set of trotting, a couple 20-meter circles, figure eight, and then walk, and then another set, and then walk, and that will be her ride. And so we'll slowly increase her endurance until she is able to do that comfortably and safe. So essentially, I'm building trust back with her as her owner and her rider, that she understands that I'm not here to yank on her mouth. I'm just here to ride and have fun, and for her to have fun. She does love a job, and right now she's been out of a job, so she's a little pill sometimes, but we love her, and she's our beautiful empress most of the time. But that is kind of how we're piecing together Cleo's work and her goals for the future. Hi, this is Hannah again, and this is Hal. So Hal belongs to Renee here. She's one of my friends. And the goal for this horse overall is to respond to aids. He's a younger thoroughbred, been off the track for about a year, has had about a year of restarting. And his goal for this ride is just to be a little bit more responsive, a little bit more forward. He can be a little lazy. And so our goal today is just to be supple and relaxed in our ride, and just kind of moving forward off our legs. So that'll be the goal for today's ride. Overall, the goal for him is just to be an overall nice horse, just kind of going forward, jumping. I think he's on leash right now. He might be a lesson pony eventually. He's just super chill. So this is where the voiceover is going to start for the video. So Hal and I just met this day. We are going to be getting to know each other along the ride here. The cool thing, though, about this is just the ability to learn a horse and ride a goal effectively as you're also learning who they are. So I got a little bit of background information on him, knowing he had about a year of retraining from the track. So he's a very well put together horse. He loves to jump. He does jump up to about 2.6. That is his favorite job. Flat work is his arch nemesis, though. So he tends to be a little bit lazy on the flat and does not like to be in front of your legs. So that was the reason why moving forward off the leg and being supple on the groundwork was the goal for today's ride. So as you can see here, I'm just kind of making sure he's listening, saying, hey, I'm up here. Just reminding him I'm not there to mess around or play around. And he was very respectful of the goal. I wouldn't say he was 100% happy about it, because there were moments where he wanted to be a little lazy cowpoke and said he wanted to drag his feet. But he got moving. Here, the main focus when I'm working with a horse that is lazy and we are trying to get them to be more responsive to the leg, whether they're dead to the leg or they are just a lazy horse and tend to need more leg, is I work more off my seat, using my hips, using that momentum of their walk, and pushing them a little bit forward from the calf and the heel, using a little bit of pressure, a couple of taps here and there if needed, to move over.
You look good on him.
And to move forward. Using that idea of a lighter seat when it comes to trotting, or even the canter later on, thinking that I'm going to be moving forward. And the lighter I am, the more forward they are. With him being a little bit more of a chronic giraffe, like they called him, he tends to want to, throughout the whole ride, stay in that headset. So throughout the ride, I'm just holding that outside rein and suppling with the inside. This slight half halt every once in a while on that inside rein, kind of asking, holding every once in a while, just until he gives a little bit and then I give back.
taking breaks, making sure he's responding both to my seat when I slow down and to my seat when I ask him to trot. We do some changes of direction both at the walk and the trot at the beginning, just to make sure he is paying attention to kind of what I'm doing and he's not falling behind. Again, in this turn here, I'm just thinking about opening up that rein and seeing how far he will reach into that turn with his neck while using my legs for the actual turn. Now that we're going right, he tends to be a more right-handed horse that I learned today, which is pretty common for some thoroughbreds. Some thoroughbreds tend to be a little bit stronger on the right-hand side. Hal was no different. He definitely is stronger on his right-hand side. He is showing that he likes to go right a little bit better. This direction, he picked up that trot pretty easy. No need for that extra aid from my leg. He picked up pretty nice from my seat and movement there. Moving nice and forward. He's slowly relaxing, but again, even throughout this whole ride, he stayed a giraffe the majority of it, but stayed nice and soft in his mouth. The connection I have with him is pretty loose. I do not have much of a tight rein in his mouth. I have a feel of both sides of his mouth, but not a tight hold. This is where we start kind of using that whole arena, moving him through, avoiding the other horses that are chilling in the corners, changing that direction across the diagonal and feeling out how he responds to that movement into those lateral changes. When working with a horse that needs that forward movement, but not a rushing movement, the best goal to do with your seat is to stay steady in your post. The faster your post, the faster their footsteps. For him, he really thrived in this trot with that consistent 1, 2, 1, 2 beat that I was giving him in that post, but also a gentle squeeze from my calf every once in a while, or a little encouraging kick from my heel. Coming across these diagonals, he definitely looked for that diagonal support. So if we were coming in the change of rein from the right to left or the left to right, he really looked for that directional change. So when we were going from left to right, he was looking for that left leg to push him over and keep him straight in the line, and that right leg to kind of push him over into that right corner. Going right to left, he was seeking for that left leg to push him laterally into the left diagonal, making sure that you were there to catch him where he needed it. So as I'm coming across the diagonal here, I hold that right rein and I'm going left, 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 left. There. He comes into that corner a lot softer than he had the other diagonals. And that was me figuring it out, also getting a slight cue from my friend in the corner, reminding me of his behavior as well. Coming into this here, we're going to be working on the canter in this area. So we're starting off right because he's stronger right. So we knew he was going to be able to come off a little bit easier before we switched to the left-hand side. So he picked it up easy. He doesn't do walk to canter transitions, so we did a trot to canter. The goal here was to stay sitting, pushing him forward off of the leg, using our seat to drive him forward, giving a little bit of a longer stride, but not driving too hard that he was running away from our seat. Keeping it light, keeping the hands supple, shorten our reins slightly. And here we're going to use our whole arena. About halfway down the arena here, I do go up into half seat to give him a little bit more freedom to kind of open up his stride, come down this other long side, and he pushes, sit, and then we go back to trot. His canter was glorious. It was so fun to ride. Having a horse that tends to be chronically lazy and being able to get up on them and just ride like that was awesome. He was very responsive to the motion of the seat plus the leg. Now, to the left, I didn't cut any of this out. You guys are going to get very organic Hannah working through a tough horse to canter to the left. Now, with thoroughbreds, depending on the thoroughbred, left can be the easiest canter ever. And for some thoroughbreds, like Hal here, the left-hand side is the hardest part for them to do. So I go up into a trot, and we go just like normal. She did tell me he has a tendency to force himself to counter bend prior to picking up his left lead, and then he almost cross canters every time. So we struggled a lot with that. So I sat, asked, and we picked up the wrong lead. So we went back to trotting. I slowed him down, and I got him a little bit more collected, pushing him forward and reminding him, hey. And at this point, I'm half halting on that left right. Half halting, and I am trying to get him to just think about keeping that left side focused on me, and he says no. And so that was the struggle for several circles of just me figuring out what is he wanting me to do to support him in this canter. So there, he picks up the wrong lead. I rode it for a few strides and brought him back down to a walk. Actually, this might not be where I walk. It is where I walk. So in the background, you can hear Renee a little bit. My friend, she's reminding me of that issue that he has, and also reminding me of something she sees. So I think the biggest thing as riders is that sometimes we need that extra support from other people that are watching, and her reminding me to keep my eyes up and stay sitting back really helped me, and it shifted my focus into, hey, you're doing something incorrectly here, and you're thinking of as if this horse could canter on the left right away. And so what I ended up having to do was almost treating this like I was cantering on the right-hand side. So I held the left rein, pushed him over with my left leg, and then he half halted with the right side, and he immediately picked it up. And it was almost as if I had to hold his frame in order to get him into that left canter. Once he was in the canter, he held it beautifully. Now, unfortunately, we had a technical difficulty with the phone getting too hot, and so it cuts out. But we do get the finishing canter circle here right before we down transition to trot. But overall, this ride on Hal was beautiful, and we accomplished that goal that we set at the beginning of the ride, which was to stay forward and in front of my leg for the majority of the ride and staying supple.